We have the 1935 Farmall that I grew up on. My dad bought this tractor in 1937 and farmed with it until about 61 or 2. And my brother and I both started driving it when we were about 11, 12 years old. And so it's a real it's a real heirloom. 99, we moved out here. I wanted a place with enough land that I could build a shop. And once I had that built, I decided I'd go look for it and found it back near Manhattan, right where it had been, with an old collector that had kept it, and it was still running. But it had been used until about 15 years before, and he was still using it to pull stuff around on his collection because he said it would always start. As far as running, when it got warmed up, there was stuff blowing out of just about every place. It created a fog. But when I tore it down, it was amazing because it was not in that bad a shape. We had to rebuild the head. And in the late 50s, the last time my dad overhauled it, he had put 4-inch sleeves and up the bore 1/4 of an inch and aluminum pistons in it. I had to replace the sleeves and rings, of course. Take a couple of thousands out of the shims out of the rods. But it was fine, and then it ran just like new. The original horsepower rating on these with kerosene was 20, which is the F20. But every farmer like my dad had upgraded them when gasoline became available, put on the gas manifold, took off the dual fuel. And then he and a lot of other farmers did what Dad had done, and that's upgrade to those 4-inch sleeves. And they went to 36-inch wheels, took the 28s off, because with that power, you know, they could plow a lot faster with the same amount of gas. But we put this thing on the dyno at our club, and it pulled a little over 30 horsepower. So, and I told my brother about that, and he said, "Well, Dad always said that did really pepped it up," and it had. Our club goes out and plows. We have a young farmer in the club, and we go out and help him plow in the spring when we happen to hit a time when we can go and it's dry enough and not too wet. Pulled a lot of hay rides with it, and a lot of kids have ridden behind it. It's fun to take to shows because the old farmers remember them, even out here where row crops were not that big a deal. And I let them drive it, put them on it, let them drive it, because it's easy to drive, easy to steer, and so it's a lot of fun. I just have a lot of fun with it, take care of it, keep it under. I think probably in the last 15 years that I've had it, maybe the first time it's ever been kept under a shelter. Because Dad always had it outside. He didn't have a shed for it. And I know the guys he sold it to didn't. And so it's being taken care of now better than it ever has. But a lot of farmers in International had a program to paint these old gray ones red. Kind of after the war when they went red. And it was an enticement to bring them in, get them overhauled, we'll paint them red for you. This one never was, because Dad had always done his own overhauls. And when I got under it, underneath the hood, the original gray paint, there was a little of it still there. And underneath where the grease and the dirt had protected it. But no, it had never been restored. The rest of it was rust. It's the original clutch. Nothing has changed in the gear, transmission, all original. Still fine, just like new.